In the wake of Alexander the Great's demise in 323 BCE, his vast empire dissolved into a tempest of ambition, treachery, and bloodshed. The ensuing power struggle among his generals, known as the Diadochi or Successors, ignited the flames of the First War of the Diadochi. It was a tumultuous epoch where the echoes of Alexander's conquests reverberated through the clash of titanic egos, shaping the course of history in the ancient world. The death of Alexander the Great marked the end of an era and the dawn of an era of uncertainty. As the conqueror of the known world lay on his deathbed in Babylon, his empire stood at the zenith of its glory, stretching from the shores of the Mediterranean to the Indus River. Yet, with Alexander's sudden passing, the fragile bonds of unity that held his empire together began to unravel. The Diadochi, a cadre of ambitious generals and commanders who had served under Alexander, emerged as the principal contenders for supremacy. Among them were Ptolemy, the shrewd strategist who would carve out a kingdom in Egypt, Seleucus, the cunning tactician who would establish the vast Seleucid Empire in the east, Antigonus, the indomitable warlord whose dream of a unified empire would drive him to the brink of madness, and Antipater, the wily regent who sought to maintain stability in the tumultuous aftermath of Alexander's death. The stage was set for a conflict of unparalleled scale and complexity, as each Diadochi vied for dominion over the spoils of Alexander's conquests. What ensued was a series of brutal campaigns, betrayals, and shifting alliances that would shape the destiny of empires and nations for generations to come. The First War of the Diadochi erupted in 322 BCE, as the Diadochi scrambled to secure their positions of power in the wake of Alexander's death. At the heart of the conflict lay the question of succession: who would inherit the mantle of Alexander and claim dominion over his vast empire? The early stages of the war saw a flurry of military activity across the Mediterranean world, as the Diadochi maneuvered their armies and fleets in a bid for supremacy. Battles were fought in the deserts of Egypt, the mountains of Anatolia, and the plains of Mesopotamia, as each faction sought to expand its territory and influence. One of the defining moments of the war came with the Battle of the Hellespont in 321 BCE, where the forces of Antigonus clashed with those of Eumenes of Cardia, a loyal general who had served under Alexander. The battle was a brutal and bloody affair, with thousands of soldiers perishing on both sides. In the end, Antigonus emerged victorious, but the cost of his victory was steep, as his army was depleted and his ambitions checked by the resilience of his opponents. As the war dragged on, new alliances formed and old loyalties were tested. Ptolemy, ever the pragmatist, sought to consolidate his power in Egypt, while Seleucus plotted to expand his fledgling empire in the east. Antigonus, meanwhile, continued his relentless campaign to reunify Alexander's empire under his rule, heedless of the cost in lives and resources. Yet, for all their ambition and cunning, the Diadochi soon found themselves mired in a quagmire of their own making. The war became a stalemate, with no faction able to decisively defeat its rivals or impose its will on the others. Cities were besieged and razed, populations displaced and enslaved, as the ancient world descended into chaos and despair. In the end, it was the intervention of outside forces that brought an end to the First War of the Diadochi. In 311 BCE, a coalition of Greek city-states and Macedonian nobles, weary of the endless conflict, brokered a peace agreement known as the Peace of the Dynasts. Under its terms, the Diadochi agreed to divide Alexander's empire among themselves, bringing an end to the bloodshed and paving the way for a new era of stability and prosperity in the ancient world. The First War of the Diadochi may have ended in a stalemate, but its legacy would endure for centuries to come. The empires that emerged from the ashes of Alexander's conquests, the Ptolemaic kingdom in Egypt, the Seleucid Empire in the east, and the Antigonid kingdom in Macedon, would shape the course of history in the ancient world, leaving an indelible mark on the civilizations that followed in their wake. In the end, the First War of the Diadochi was a testament to the enduring legacy of Alexander the Great and the power of his vision to inspire generations of men to greatness. Though his empire may have crumbled in the aftermath of his death, the spirit of Alexander lived on in the hearts and minds of his successors, as they sought to carve out their own destiny in the annals of history.